Hey guys, Furum here, and today I'm going to be testing the Chevrolet Corvette C3 in multiplayer for the second time. If you were a bit confused about the title, let me explain. A few days ago, this car was put on sale for 95% off for 300 tokens. Yeah. So my rank is 1678, my tuning is 0505, and my pro kits are 5454. So nearly maximum speed, but not quite. In our first race, we are up against a Sin R1 and a Homage. So the Corvette, when tuned this way especially, has very slow acceleration, definitely below average. While not being as bad as maybe such as an SLK, it's still worse than most cars. However, it gets up to speed fairly quickly once it gets going, and it can reach up to 300 miles per hour at this rank. Therefore, the 300 token 300 mile per hour car. And it's just below a rank of 1680 as well. So this car has pretty good speed for its rank, definitely above average, and it also has good handling and pretty good nitro efficiency. But while it has 3 advantages, it also has 3 disadvantages. So as you have seen, its acceleration is mediocre, also its drifting is mediocre. Also, while not being as bad as something like the SLK, it's still not great. As you can see here, it's pretty wide. And the third disadvantage is the fact that it tends to be a little bit glitchy on ramps. For example, later in this video, you will see some cases of my car half-barreling and landing me on my top when I go up a ramp, which may or may not have ruined a race or two. You'll have to see. So we lost to a Homage, but we did beat a Sin R1. The Homage was ranked 1673, and the Sin R1 was a rank of 1659. Pretty good matchmaking in this race. Now, for an intense battle on London, 2 laps against 2 Homages, 2 Vulcans, and 2 MP48s. Which all start up quite a lot faster than me. But you do see, while it does start up slowly at the beginning, it's one of those cars that once it gets up to like 100 to 150 miles per hour, that's when it really starts accelerating fairly quickly. And as you can see here, I'm a lot faster than the MP48s. And I even caught up to this Homage and passed him here. So, yeah. When it's at its maximum speed, it can do really well, because 300 miles per hour at this rank is quite good. While not being, say, Homage level or Vulcan level, it's much better than the average cars you'll find around this rank, and you can beat some higher ones as well, if you don't have glitches. Remember that. And also if you don't get knocked down at the beginning of the race. So there are a few stipulations on this car actually doing well, and I found that it just seems to be rather unreliable in pulling out wins or even top 3 finishes because of the glitches and the knockdowns mostly, even with its good speed. So it seems that now I have settled into 4th position, just behind 2 Vulcans and a Homage who is actually in 1st place, but I'm ahead of a Homage and 2 MP48s. And one of them just left. I don't know who it was. By the way, if you come across me in a race and you are coming in ahead of me, you are most likely going to gain points, because my Vulcan is so extremely good that I can manage to make it to 2300 each season, and so I'm always in Champion League, which means if you finish ahead of me, you're going to go up a good bit, especially if it's near the end of the season. So, just a little thing if you see me in multiplayer. So, we got beat by a 1665 Homage as well as 2 1679 Vulcans, that's my tune, but we beat a 1653 Homage and 2 Prod MP48s. Now for a race on Barcelona, in which you will see the first of many glitches that this car is apparently cursed with. It's just, when I drive this car, I get so many glitches that I do not get when I'm driving any other car. And it happened in my previous video as well. I don't understand it. There's something about the car that's just weird. So one of the Vulcans wrecked, he's one behind me, and now I am catching up to and passing an M2 Special Edition. By the way, I did make an M2 Special Edition out of Lego quite recently, so whenever I make my next M2 Special Edition video, I will try to remember to put some pictures of that. I think it looks pretty good. It's the biggest of the Lego cars that I've made. So by now, the M2 Special Edition is long gone because he can reach maximum 10 miles per hour slower than me, but the other Vulcan is catching up slowly behind me. So at this point I knew that if I was going to beat him, since it is 2 laps, I needed to do as many speed tricks and take the corners as best as I could. So yeah, I'm speeding up the second lap just because he stays about the same amount behind me for the entire time, just gets a little bit closer. So you can see that this car's speed is competitive. It's just most other things about it that are not competitive other than the speed. It's the kind of car that it takes a while to get going, and it may be hard to do so, but once you get going, you get going. So here I take this ramp a little high, but I still manage to land ahead of him. Now here he noses up to me, goes over to the right, and I finish ahead of him. But then Gameloft says nope and gives me third place. And even though you could clearly see that I was ahead of him when I crossed the finish line, we got the same frame, and he beat me. I don't get upset when someone beats me fair and square, but when somebody beats me because of a glitch in the time like this, I get a little bit annoyed. And this actually happened in my previous video with the Corvette as well. So yes, I told you it's cursed or something. So again, because of the car's slow acceleration and bad drifting, around the beginning of Nevada we are in last place, but then somebody wrecks and we manage to get into 5th. So this race is a good example of this car's catch-up ability, because its speed, as I said earlier, is superior to most cars around its rank. And even, say, cars like Vulcans and Homages, if they make a mistake, you're going to pass them. Like, here I'm catching up to a Vulcan because he is not taking the turns as well as he could. But because Gameloft has apparently decided to do whatever it takes to make sure this car does not win a single race, let's just see what happens on the second lap. So here we are now into 4th place, now into 3rd place because somebody wrecked, and then somebody else wrecked. So now we're all the way into 2nd place. And I was going to try to make it around the corner there, but I didn't. And now I passed this Falcon, and on a one-lap race, I would have come in first, ahead of Homage and Vulcan and MP48 and all that. And I was just thinking, this is too good to be true. So I resolved to just play the second lap as best I could. So here this Vulcan caught up to me, but then he wrecked. So I was like, why is everybody wrecking? This race is going too well. I'm getting such good luck. Wait about 20 seconds. So here this Homage nosed up to me, and I went over to the side so he could pass, but he didn't actually catch up to me before the turn, and I took the turn better than he did, but then he managed to fly past me. I'm not exactly sure how he managed to do that, but then I was back into 2nd place, still beating a Vulcan and right behind this Homage. But then the unthinkable happened. I cannot explain how I was feeling when that happened. It had now been the second time that something random and unfair had happened to me when driving this car, and I was a little bit flustered, as you might be able to imagine. And I thought, well, maybe I can at least get 4th. No, but I did get a cool barrel roll as Gameloft's little consolation for their little mishap. So we lost to a bunch of cars. Let's just move on to the next race. Now we face 2 Vulcans, an MP48, and an M2 Special Edition on Munich. So they all pass me without knocking me down, but then the random Lycan Hypersport decides to. That is a real problem with this car. Even the terrible multiplayer cars start up faster than you, even when they're unboosted. So yes, it is definitely good if you start in the back in this car, and I found that I had a higher win rate if I started in the back. And here I've now managed to catch up, get into 3rd position because of some other people wrecking, and the 2 Vulcans are the cars that are way ahead. As you can see, I'm quite a lot faster than the MP48, which is the one directly behind me. Because of the C3's mediocre drifting ability, while not being terrible, does not let me get around these corners very quickly. You have to start drifting early. Then another glitch happens, like randomly jumping into the air for no reason. I don't understand it. I don't understand this car. I don't know if it's just mine. If any of you guys bought this car when it was on sale for 300 tokens, tell me in the comments if your car has done any weird things like this, just glitching on ramps and whatever, because I'd really like to know that it's not just me facing these problems. On the bright side, we did beat a Pro'd MP48 as well as a high-ranked M2 Special Edition. Now for a race on Barcelona in which we face an Audi R8 e-tron Special Edition and an MP48 and a Savage Rival, all of which start up extremely quickly. Now the Savage Rival is the worst of these cars, and so I'm able to catch up to him pretty quickly. Now this is a one-lap race. I go faster than the R8 e-tron Special Edition and the MP425 by at least a few miles per hour. My car is the fastest car in this race, but because its acceleration is so bad compared to them, and because the drifting is not too great as well, it is a bit difficult for me to be able to catch up to them. The MP48 is faster than the Audi R8 e-tron at this rank, so the MP425 is the one in first place. I was thinking maybe I can edge past this R8 e-tron before the end of the race, and it did look like I was about to be able to, but unfortunately, the finish line came up just a bit too quickly, and I did not manage to pass him. However, had it been a 2-lap race, I would definitely have been able to beat him. Probably not the MP425 though, because it's not too much slower. It's just like slower by about 2 or 3 miles per hour. Now we have another race on Barcelona Reverse, this time against 3 Vulcans, 2 of which are using my tune of 1679, and 1 of which is higher ranked using Dr. Hulution's tune of 1747. I just call them mine and his tunes because we were the ones who popularized it. Obviously, other people could have found the tunes on their own without watching our videos, but it's just fun to have a tune that you consider your own because you were one of the first people to show it off. Same with Dr. Hulution's tune. He was one of the first people to show off his 1747 tune. And I have noticed a big influx of the 1679 and 1747 Vulcans within the past several months, so there probably is a bit of a connection. Either that, or everyone just sees them in multiplayer and sees that they are pretty good, and so they tune up to them without having any knowledge of who's actually driving them. So I don't really know. We are ahead of a Vulcan right now who ended up disconnecting because he's in last place, as they should, and I'm just not fast enough to be able to catch up to these 2 up here. So we end up coming in 3rd out of 4. But I did technically beat a Vulcan in this race because he was far behind when he disconnected and would not have been able to catch up. Now for our final race, which is on Nevada against more Vulcans. Some of you may be wondering why I didn't upgrade acceleration on this car at all. Well, the problem is, when you upgrade acceleration on a car that has extremely bad acceleration to begin with, even though you will be starting up quicker, most other cars will still be accelerating faster than you, and thus a lot of the time they will still be able to knock you down. Therefore, your acceleration did not do much of anything besides lower your speed, and therefore lower your catch-up ability or your ability to stay ahead if they make a mistake. So that is why if your car has very bad acceleration to begin with, I really don't think it is worth putting acceleration into it. Unless, by doing that, you actually manage to accelerate faster than a lot of cars that you would be able to not accelerate as fast as before. The Vulcan and Homage are 2 good examples of cars to upgrade acceleration on, because they add a lot of acceleration boost with a very low rank increase. With the Vulcan, it's like 17. With the Homage, it's not too much more than that. It stops the Homage from being able to get knocked down by some of the more mediocre multiplayer cars, and it stops the Vulcan from being able to get knocked down by the Aeronair Hacera GT. Here I just passed a Vulcan that was facing the other way on the track with its lights blinking. Not exactly sure what happened there, because he ended up disconnecting. The Corvette C3 is worth it for 300 tokens, but not for more than that. Thank you all for watching, please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I will see you later. Goodbye!